Kevin Durant officially got traded to the Houston Rockets. It actually happened. And we're going to talk about it. But before we get started, I want to tell you guys to hit that subscribe button, like, comment, and share. And to continue to support my channel. It finally happened. Kevin Durant finally got traded to the Houston Rockets. Kevin Durant finally got traded to the Houston Rockets for Jalen Green, Dillon Brooks, the 10th pick in this year's draft, and 5 second-round picks. Yes, ladies and gentlemen, that is the trade. The Phoenix Suns finally traded Kevin Durant to the Houston Rockets for Dillon Brooks, Jalen Green, the 10th pick in this year's draft, and 5 second-round picks. And my instant reaction to this move is the Houston Rockets finally made a home run with this move. They made a home. This was an absolute home run for the Houston Rockets. I said maybe about a month ago, after the Houston Rockets got eliminated from this year's playoffs, the number one goal for the Houston Rockets was they had to move off of Jalen Green. And look, I don't want to disrespect Jalen Green too much on this episode, but the truth of the matter is Jalen Green in the playoffs got exposed. He's not a starter on a championship team. He just isn't. And look, I get it. He's 20. Was he 23? 24? I get it. He's young. He'll tease you. He'll showcase what he could be on certain nights. But at the end of the day, Jalen Green is not that guy. And the Houston Rockets realized that, you know what? While we don't want to just give him away, we're going to be opportunistic. We'll be open to it. And when Kevin Durant, obviously we all know he was going to be available this summer. And look, I think for Houston, I think they understood, understandably, that we don't want to, considering that we own all of Phoenix picks, we're not going to just give them everything we want just because it's Kevin Durant. Because the truth is with Kevin Durant, and we've heard this consistently with Houston, is they wanted to get a guy that was on the same age timeline of their young core, which is Şengün and Amen Thompson and Jabari Smith and Tyree Eason and Reed Shepherd and all of those guys. We wanted to get guys that fit our timeline. And so understandably for Houston, I don't think they wanted to empty the cupboard for Kevin Durant, considering he's 37 years old. But here's what happened. As Kevin Durant became available, and as the market for him started to decrease, there was a little bit of an opportunity for Houston to kind of you know what, we can get Kevin Durant for cheap. If we can get Kevin Durant by just trading Jalen Green and a Dillon Brooks and maybe a pick, I don't think you'll be giving up much to get Kevin Durant. And I suggested this about a couple of weeks ago for Houston, that if the market for Kevin Durant was as low as I thought it was, considering the fact that Kevin Durant's 37 years old, and considering the fact that he's not going to have a lot of suitors, and the suitors that were available that were kind of interested in Kevin Durant, they weren't going to give up a lot to get him. Kevin Durant was not going to be available for 3 first-round picks and 2 prospects. It just wasn't going to happen. Because he's 37 years old. And Kevin Durant probably has about, 1-2 years max as far as him being an elite player. Because considering his age, it's risky to give up a lot of stuff for a guy that old, even though Kevin Durant is still great and can still play. And so for Houston, you want to be selective, and you don't want to give up too much. And ultimately, as the suitors started to dwell and Kevin Durant had his list, and, originally, we were all thinking that, okay, Kevin Durant could go to the Minnesota Timberwolves. But guess what? Kevin Durant said, no, I don't want to go to Minnesota. I'm not interested. I don't want to go up there in the cold weather. I don't want to be in Minnesota. And so I think that kind of dissuade Minnesota's interest. And you look at the other suitors, San Antonio, obviously, they just didn't want to be super aggressive in getting Kevin Durant, understandably on their part. And Miami, they don't want to part with Khalil Ware. And quite frankly, I don't think Miami's assets are super attractive anyway. And so that kind of left Houston, and that kind of left Phoenix in a situation where, like, Houston had the best stuff that we could get for Kevin Durant. And so Houston did a really good job of playing the market perfectly and putting Phoenix in a bind that, Kevin Durant only wants to go to Houston, Miami, and San Antonio. And Houston understood that. And Phoenix understood that we can't keep Kevin Durant because we're not good enough. And we have to make moves, and we got to get under the second apron, and we got to get some flexibility. And so Phoenix kind of had no choice. And I'll credit Houston for playing this market perfectly, and for them to get Kevin Durant for Jalen Green, Dillon Brooks, and a pick. I mean, it's great work. It's great work for the Houston Rockets. And like I said, this is a home run deal for the Houston Rockets. In my opinion, I think the Houston Rockets heading into next season should be the biggest threat to the Oklahoma City Thunder as far as winning the West. They're the biggest threat with this move. You look at a starting lineup of Alfred Şengün, Jabari Smith, Kevin Durant, Fred VanVleet, and Amen Thompson. That is your starting five. Let me repeat that. Alfred Şengün, Jabari Smith, Kevin Durant, Amen Thompson, and Fred VanVleet. That's your starting five. That is a lethal starting five. That is a starting five that can absolutely win the title next year. Absolutely. I think it's a beautiful fit. And I love it because now, and I love the fact that Houston was able to keep those Phoenix picks, because those Phoenix picks moving forward are going to be very valuable. Very valuable. And so you were able to keep those Phoenix picks. You were able to keep Amen Thompson. You're able to keep Alfred Şengün. You're able to keep Jabari Smith, Reed Shepherd, Tyree Eason. You're able to keep all of that young core together. And for Houston, look, they don't need another. They don't need another pick. They didn't need a first round pick in this year's draft. They just didn't. They did not need another pick in this year's draft with all the young talent they have. And so good for Houston for parting with that pick, parting with a guy like Jalen Green, who I think he's kind of what he kind of has a ceiling as a player, in my opinion. Like, I don't look at him as a starting two guard on a championship level team. Like, I just don't. I think Jalen Green on an ideal team should be your sixth man. I said it the moment Houston got eliminated, and I still stand by it. I don't think Jalen Green's that good. I think he's closer to a backup than he is to a starter on a serious team with championship aspirations. And so for you to turn that plus Dillon Brooks, now I think that they might miss Dillon Brooks a little bit because of his feistiness, but you're able to turn all of that into Kevin Durant. Great move for the Houston Rockets. And in my opinion, I think heading into next season, they're the second best team in the Western Conference behind the Oklahoma City Thunder. I think this move that Houston made elevates them to that level. If the Houston Rockets had Kevin Durant, they would have beaten the Golden State Warriors in the first round. Absolutely. If the Houston Rockets had Kevin Durant, they would have beaten the Golden State Warriors in the first round. And so you add that to that squad. I mean, Houston's in the business. They're in business. If I'm a fan of the Houston Rockets, I'm uber excited about this move. I'm uber excited that you traded Jalen Green and Dillon Brooks in the 10th pick in this year's draft and some second round picks for Kevin Durant. Now look, like I said, with Kevin Durant, he's 37 years old. And look, who knows how many more years he has left as playing at an elite level. He probably has like 2 years, if we're being honest. But for Houston, I think it's a sweet move to go this route, because now with Houston, they got young talent too. Like Amen Thompson, this dude has real potential. This dude could be Houston's best player soon. And you got Alfred Şengün. And so now, like, as Kevin Durant gets older, those guys, Amen Thompson and Şengün, and maybe a Reed Shepherd, if he gets minutes, like those guys could grow, and Kevin Durant could actually shift down a little bit and be like the veteran role player. Like, I really love the fit, man. I really, really, really love the Kevin Durant fit. I get that Houston, wanted to ideally, like they probably would have preferred a younger guy, but I think the situation in Houston, I think it's perfect. I really do. I think it's perfect. I think Kevin Durant is in a perfect situation to be the go-to scorer, but also a mentor to these young guys like Amen Thompson and Şengün and Jabari Smith and Tyree Eason. Like I think it's perfect. And Ime Udoka, like we knew Ime Udoka wanted this badly, and so I gotta imagine how hyped up he is to be coaching Kevin Durant. I just love it. I love it. Good for Houston Rockets fans, and for the Phoenix Suns. I mean, hey, I'm sorry, Phoenix Suns fans, but y'all made this bid. I mean, it's a mess. It's a mess for the Phoenix Suns. I know they want to compete next year, but I don't see it. I don't. Look, I don't know what's going. I'm sure there's more moves to come for the Phoenix Suns because I think they still want to get out the second apron. So, are they going to keep Jalen Green? Or are they going to move Jalen Green? They got a log jam at the 2-guard spot. And so you got Jalen Green, Devin Booker, Bradley Beal, Grayson Allen, Royce O'Neal. They got a lot of guards. And so I got to imagine that a lot of that maybe 2 or 3 of these guards are going to be on a move somewhere. And so I'm sure there's more moves coming for the Phoenix Suns. But, I mean, look, man, the Phoenix Suns are going nowhere. And quite frankly, I said this weeks ago, I think the Phoenix Suns should be looking at trading Devin Booker. I mean, they should trade him. But whatever. They're probably not going to do it. And the Phoenix Suns they're going to have a roster that's going to end up going nowhere. And they're going to be bottom feeders for the next half decade in all likelihood. And so whatever. I mean, it sucks for the Phoenix Suns fans. They had to make this move to get Kevin Durant because this was the best offer available. At least they got the 10th pick in the draft. And so they actually may have a chance to get a decent player with that pick. But the Phoenix Suns have a long way to go. And to me, this move was about the Houston Rockets and what they did. They were able to turn their biggest problem in Jalen Green into a big strength in getting Kevin Durant. And I salute the Houston Rockets. This was a hell of a move. Great trade. The Houston Rocket fans should be happy. And in my opinion, trading Jalen Green, Dylan Brooks, the 10th pick in this year's draft, and 5 second-round picks, and trading all of that for Kevin Durant absolutely puts the Houston Rockets right back in the championship contending business. And as far as I'm concerned, heading into next season, the biggest threat to the Oklahoma City Thunder are these Houston Rockets. And Houston, yeah, it's time for y'all to celebrate because you guys are going to be a problem.